right. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for spending some time with us this morning. We have Grant Hills, the USA Basketball Managing Director for the men's national team. Earlier this morning, we named the 2024 men's national team that will compete at the Paris Olympics. We're going to go ahead and get this started with an opening statement from Grant Hill, and then we'll transition into questions. If we can use the raise hand function just to kind of keep it orderly, that would be very much appreciated. And I will turn it over right now to Grant.
Well, thank you, Justin, and good morning, everyone. Thank you all for logging on. USA Basketball, the men's national team, are very excited. We have as all of you, I'm sure have seen, we have a very exciting, very talented, very experienced roster for the upcoming games here this summer in Paris, and just grateful that we had so many who were willing to be a part of this. We had a great pool of candidates to choose from. It was not easy by any stretch of the imagination, but certainly beyond thrilled that we have assembled this roster of 12. And we look forward to the journey, the task at hand, of course, the goal of bringing gold back from the Olympics. So very excited, and I'm actually excited to answer your questions. So feel free to fire away.
Thank you, Grant. We'll get started with Jeff Zilgett.
Hey, Grant, hope you're well today. I wanted to know what your philosophy was in picking this roster. What were the things that shaped who you wanted on this team, and for what reasons, did you decide, on these 12? And I take a look at, offense, defense, and size being key components.
Yeah, no, great question, Jeff. A lot of thought did go into it, and as you know, and I'm sure everyone on here understands that, the FIBA game is a different game than the NBA game. And so you want players whose games certainly translate on that stage. I'll be honest, I learned a great deal having gone through last summer. I learned certainly the teams that, the elite teams, the teams that seriously have a chance to contend for a gold medal. I learned the diversity and sort of styles, and just the FIBA game overall. I mean, you go through a World Cup, you really pick up on quite a deal, quite a bunch. I think defense, I think experience, collective understanding of just how to win, whether that's on the FIBA stage or even on the NBA stage. And then, it's a puzzle. You want, obviously talented individuals, but you want players who can blend and can fit and can play certain roles that you need. But I think defense was certainly a priority, and defensively, having guys that are capable of locking down, of guarding multiple sets within a possession. I think a maturity, an emotional maturity, and then just blending personalities. So it's one thing to have, sometimes you can have a collection of the best, but it's most important to have the best fit. And so we were very thoughtful, very intentional about that. Also, as I talk about the theme of defense, rebounding, that was something we struggled with. And so, we have guys that are very capable, guys that are very accomplished, but going through the process, talking with players, interviewing them, spending a great deal of time with guys, really going back to the fall of 2022 when those conversations began. Having people who understand that it's not about me, it's about we, and all that anyone cares about is winning a gold medal. And I'm excited that this group gets it. They want to be a part of it. They want to buy in to something bigger than themselves, and they want to coexist and hopefully, ultimately win. And so, yeah, I mean, that was pretty much sort of checking the boxes in terms of, obviously you need shooting, you need guys that can, make plays, but guys that understand sort of how to play. And more importantly, on the defensive end, having a little bit more of a presence on that side of the ball than maybe what we had last summer.
Let's go to Joe Varden.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning, Joe.
Hey, man. Hey, um, what is the concern level for Kawhi, just given the knee problems that he's having again in the playoffs that are ahead? And then more broadly speaking, you have most of the team is just starting its playoff run, and of course, there's a possibility of injury. What is the contingency plan if you lose a player that you've announced to injury?
Well, I mean, I think just to answer that, I'll answer sort of both questions at once. We have shown in years past that, we've had to make changes, and we do have time in the event that, something unforeseen were to happen, that we have a contingency plan, and we have that at every position. We'll keep that internal. We hope that that doesn't happen, but you think back to 2021, that was the case. And I think going through this process, you have to learn to expect at times the unexpected, be able to adapt and adjust. So as we've gone through this process, we've kept that in mind. And we know that the playoffs are up and coming, and things can happen. And so we're well aware of that, and we're prepared in the event that for whatever reason, if someone were not to be able to play, that we have some other options as well. Like I said, we hope that's not the case, and we are, but we're well aware that that could happen. And from all indications, from talking to all the guys, look, first of all, I've been a player. I know you get to this point of the season, everything is sore and a little bit swollen, and it's just part of the grind of an NBA season. But we'll continue to evaluate. We'll continue to be in communication with guys as they go through the playoffs and into the off season. And like I said, our hope is that this roster will, on July 12th, we'll get on the plane and head abroad.
And then if I could follow up on what you were talking about with Jeff, when you're talking about defense and rebounding being issues last summer, I mean, as you know, last summer's team was a smaller team. Steve liked to play small. With this group now, you have Joel, you have AD. You could start them together. I know Steve's not on the call. Or you could play like Kawhi at the 2 and be a defensive team that's also small. Can you speak to both the versatility and also the lineup possibilities that you have with this 12?
That's a great point. Great question, Joe. I'm glad you brought that up. And you've kind of been there with us last year and experienced it from start to finish. So the beauty of the FIBA game is that you're going to see a little bit of everything. You're going to see big teams that are incredibly physical, that try to beat you up and play sort of an old school style of play. You have Canada, who was the bronze medalist in the World Cup last year. They spread you out. They play a small lineup. And so you have teams that like Spain who are going to just execute and run their sets and wear you down. So being able to have players that can play multiple styles. You can go big, you can go small, you can play two bigs at one time. You have an incredible amount of versatility on this team. You could go small with a lineup of guys that are all in the 6'6", 6'8", range, who can do a number of things from a versatility standpoint. So to have those options and to be prepared for whatever we might see was certainly the thought process in putting together this roster. And so I like that. I like the flexibility of this group. I like the character and the maturity of this group. And you know, that's important because, like I said, you know as well as anyone that you're going to see. You know, if you look at the NBA, you know, the NBA and certainly the styles of play in the NBA currently stand, it's very similar. A lot of teams do and run the same stuff. It's different in the FIBA game. And we have to respect that. We have to be prepared for that. And we have to have the talent and the skill set that can execute against that.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Joe. Great question.
Let's go to Sean, and then iPhone. If you could identify yourself, we're just not sure who you are. So if you could update your name on your Zoom, please.
Hey, Grant, how are you? I want to go back to defense. And when you were selecting this team, did you look at individual players who might guard some of the stars you'll see in these games? Like, for example, who played their best against Luka? Who played their best against Shea? And so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's part of that. I mean, I think guys who've had success against some of the international players defensively was important, but then also guys who can switch and can guard multiple players, you know, and you know, guys who can guard point guards and they're switched off on bigs, can fight and compete on that end. And then I think just a collective understanding of you know, of defense. And, you know, every team is different. So it may require a different game plan. And so to be able to throw different strategies and have guys be able to execute those strategies. When I say throw different strategies at the guys as we prepare for certain lineups, you know, to be able to adjust on the fly, to be able to execute whatever those game plans are, is important. So, you know, that was, you know, that was certainly an area where we needed to be better on and to improve upon. And we have guys that have that as a foundation, have an understanding, also to the physicality. The game is much more physical than the NBA game. And so, you know, being aware of that, having guys whose games would translate on that level, on the defensive side and offensive side was important. So, yes, this is not a knock on any team that we've had in the past, but I'm really excited about the defensive potential of this group as we, you know, work together and prepare ourselves for Paris.
We got about 7 minutes left, so we're going to go Tim and probably close with Mike. Thank you.
Hey, Grant, thanks for doing this. I'm just curious, in announcing the team now, as you said in your answer to Joe's question, that you have contingencies in place if guys are not able to play. I'm just curious, what was the thought process in doing this announcement now, as opposed to, say, in a couple of months after you see how the playoffs go, and if there are any situations where you have to potentially change from this group? What was sort of the process that led you guys to decide to announce the team now and then potentially have to switch it up later, though? Like you said, obviously, I know you're hoping you don't have to.
Yeah, I think it just so happened to coincide with all the activity here in New York and the USOC 100 days out from the opening ceremony. But we knew, you know, we didn't necessarily plan it that way. You know, obviously consulting and getting feedback from our staff. But we knew that this was the team that we wanted. And we also know that there will be a lot of interest and a lot of people who will want to be along for this incredible journey we're about to be on. So, you know, if we know why wait? And, you know, as Joe had asked, if something were to happen, we adjust. And we've done that before. We've done it. You know, I can speak in 21, I think in 2012, I know Blake Griffin was supposed to be on the team, was practicing with the team, and then had some issues and we adjust. And so I'm grateful that we have so many incredibly talented players who are homegrown players who are eligible. And if in the event something were to happen, we pivot. And we've thought about that and kind of modeled it out a bit in the event that were to occur. But yeah, let's start the process of becoming a team, and even just in announcing it early. We'll try to, at some point here, it'll be tricky with schedules, but jump on a Zoom with all the coaches, all the players, and just, not have them sort of speak and talk, or not have them hear from us for the first time in July. They will hear from us over the course of the next few months. And I think that's important. I think that's important, getting that out the way, letting these guys now focus on their NBA postseasons and not have the worry or the burdensome of like how all this will play out. We know we feel really good about this team, and we felt comfortable. We actually finished it probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was a little sidetracked with March Madness. But we got approval from the board, USA Basketball, and we decided to make the announcement. I will say that I did, for the last 4 or 5 days, had a chance to meet with a majority of the players. If I didn't do it, the coaches, the staff, Sean Ford, we all gave each player a moment, and we surprised them. We were able to coordinate with their teams, surprise them at practice, surprise them at home, at their homes, surprise them on the road at their hotels, thanking them, congratulating them, welcoming them to the team, presenting them with jerseys, and I think that was special. I think they appreciated that, and we were honored to do that. And that was important, I think, for us to do that, to let them know how much we appreciate them for being a part of this.
Good. Mike, you want to take us home?
Yeah. Hey, Grant, nice to see you again. I got a two-part question here. So how much did you value the continuity with the team in Tokyo? You got 5 guys on it, I believe, now for 24. And then could you speak to the importance of some of those showcase games that were announced today? You have a pair in Abu Dhabi and then a pair in London as well in July.
Well, it's interesting. Last summer we had a great group, and we came up short, but we competed. We gave our all, and everyone bought in. But one thing that was telling was, for all those guys, it was their first time on the men's national team, and it was a great experience. And I think it'll serve all those guys well if they have the opportunity to play on the men's national team again in the future. But when you look at this team, you have 7 former Olympic gold medalists. You have 3 guys who've participated in the World Cup or the World Championship, in Stephen Curry's case, where he won 2 gold medals in 2010, 2014. And then our 2 new guys to the men's national team program just happened to be the former MVP in Joel Embiid, and then 2-time finals MVP and perennial all-star and NBA champion in Kawhi Leonard. And so, although in the example of a guy like Kawhi Leonard, although he hasn't played on the FIBA stage, he has played in big moments. He has that level of experience. He has championship experience. So blending all of that together, I think there's an emotional maturity. There's a understanding of how to win. I think that will serve us well. But yeah, you can't teach experience, and these guys have all done it and done it at the highest level, and are really excited, not just about representing their country, not just about playing on the world stage, not just going and pursuing a gold medal, but they're really excited about playing with one another, and almost giddy in a way, which is exciting. It's encouraging, and it's something that we're so grateful for, and look forward to watching this team come together and go for it all.
Awesome. That'll wrap us up. We'll see Grant again at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. That Zoom invitation is on the press release that went out earlier this morning, but otherwise Grant has other commitments. So thank you for your time and we will see everybody later.
All right. Thank you, everyone.